Welcome to Breaking the Line, the ECNL Podcast, a bi-weekly look at all things related to the growing elite clubs National League, the ECNL. For more information on the ECNL, visit us at www.theecnl.com. Now, here's your host for Breaking the Line, the ECNL Podcast, former U.S. Soccer press officer and longtime soccer broadcaster, Dean Linke.
I am Dean Linke. This is Breaking the Line, the ECNL Podcast, and this week we put the spotlight on the Florida Club League and two of their leaders. That includes their Executive Director, Lori Trautmann, spelled Trautmann, as well as Sean Bubb. Sean Bubb, who is the North Advisor on the Board of Directors for the Florida Club League and also a phenomenal coach, a great resume with great things to say, like Lori, about the ECNL. I encourage all of you to check out the amazing work they're doing at the Florida Club League by going to floridaclubleague.com. As it is, Christian Lavers, the president and CEO of the ECNL, went to the Florida Club League AGM last week to discuss the ECNL National and Regional League vision moving forward. Part of the great news coming out of Christian's appearance at the AGM and, of course, all the great work prior to that from the Florida Club League has meant that multiple clubs out of the ECNL Regional League in Florida and part of the Florida Club League were promoted to the ECNL national level for next year based on their performance. A great show as we learn more about the Florida Club League, including two of their leaders, Lori Trautmann and Sean Bubb. And it starts after this message from the ECNL.
As the game continues to evolve in the United States, the ECNL remains the standard of excellence in youth soccer. The Elite Clubs National League has grown to include over 200 clubs and nearly 50,000 players across the country, with a robust competition platform for teams, educational resources for coaches and clubs, and unparalleled identification and development opportunities for players. Alongside its member clubs, collaborating to create a better future, the ECNL continues to raise the game every day. The ECNL is more than a league. Welcome back to Breaking the Line, the ECNL Podcast. Once again, here's Dean.
Welcome back to Breaking the Line, the ECNL Podcast, as we are talking about the incredible job the Florida Club League has done, creating a state-based youth soccer league of multiple tiers and levels. We're pleased to be joined by two of the superstars of the Florida Club League, Lori Trautmann, the Executive Director of the Florida Club League, and Sean Bubb, the Boys Florida board member. And just a quick snapshot. I know, Lori, you said you don't like talking about yourself, but let's hear your elevator speech, your journey from Michigan down to Florida.
Well, after I graduated from college, I moved to Florida. I met my husband in Tampa. We were there for a while where we started a family and where my children got involved with youth soccer. As they grew and I moved over to Orlando, I got more engaged with the game. I liked what I saw, but I knew that it could definitely be improved upon. And while in Orlando, I worked at Disney, and one of the things there we learned is efficiency. And I found a lot of inefficiencies with a lot of the things that I would see in terms of scheduling and fields and just bad travel. So when I left Disney to come work for these guys, the idea is I wanted to create the most efficient, effective schedules that I could for not only the clubs, but cost-effective for the parents as well, because we want it to be a good experience for them as well. Certainly for the children on the field, but for the parents who are driving there would be ideal as well.
Because of all of that, I think that's why everybody at the ECNL leadership calls you a superstar. I can tell that makes you uncomfortable, but they definitely are impressed with your efficiencies and your organization. Will you take that compliment?
Yes, thank you.
All right, indeed. Sean, tell us a little about yourself.
First, she's very modest. She is a superstar and does a great job. So I came here from England, Doncaster, England, coal mining area. My family, coal miners, so very blue-collar work ethic. Very proud of that, very proud of my parents, what they did with me and my brothers. Came here to originally coach in college, then went on, decided the college game, a couple of months a year was not enough. Got into the youth game, volunteered, I'd coached already in England, and I've gone on a journey. I've worked in 4 clubs over the last 34 years, built 4 clubs, which I'm very proud of. One in Charlotte, North Carolina, one in Austin, Texas, and one in Dallas, Texas. Now I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, St. Johns County, building my 4th club. So I enjoy that process, and it's really about giving back to the game, building opportunities, building pathways for kids of all levels, whether you want to just play rec and have fun, or you want to play on a US national team or play professional here in this country or overseas. So that's really what my background is, and again, I feel very fortunate to be in the game, feel very lucky to be in the game, and being in an organization like the ECNL, like Florida Club League, I'm very honored and very privileged to be part of those groups. So that's really my background. I played, and I've done a bit of coaching on the pro side. I've done coaching with the Bahamian national team. We work with them very closely. We also do lots of charity work with Boys and Girls Clubs of America, things like that. So I think we have a great opportunity as coaches, and I think all the coaches here at ECNL do the same thing. We reach out into our communities. We go into areas that might not be as privileged and give those kids programs and opportunities as well. So it's not just about the elite player. It's about the sport, the game, and kids having opportunities. So that's why I do it, and I feel most of my colleagues and peers here are the same.
For me, it's always pleasurable to find out your investment in the game, for you as a soccer mom and then somebody that worked for Disney, for you that was in your DNA from day one. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I also feel like repetition is a great way to learn. So I am going to ask you to repeat a little bit here as we talk about the fact that at one time Florida was the Wild Wild West. Today we're talking about creating a state-based youth soccer league of multiple tiers and levels. And I just want to hit that one more time before we go to the challenges, Lori. When you think about creating a state-based youth soccer league of multiple tiers and levels, based on the background that you just said, working at Disney, which there's not a more efficient place than Disney, how hard was it for you to dive in and create this state-based youth soccer league of multiple levels?
So getting buy-in of everybody in close proximity is certainly a challenge. So you have to get really creative with the schedules. You can't just plug and play them. So it's not a, hey, we're going to stick it in, push a button, and give you a schedule. A lot of schedules have to be really handmade so that we can make them the most efficient they are. The systems we have some parameters that we can use, but for the most part, we put a lot of time and effort into them. And then we do vet them back with our clubs so that one-on-one relationship is also a good thing that we have. And getting the clubs to understand, hey, look, this is where we are today. We're growing. This is the second year we've been in business. As we get more clubs on board, it'll get better. But we're still a little loose with our travel.
What a phenomenal answer. As somebody that played over in England, then came over, you've seen her set up these efficiencies. How does it make you feel?
Like we said earlier, and she doesn't like this, she's a superstar. She's tremendous at what she does. She's incredibly thorough, but she's thorough because she cares. She's very professional with past business backgrounds with Disney and places like that. She's also been involved in soccer on more levels than she's gone into, so she's had some experience. But I think coming into Florida and doing what we're doing, it's an educational process. It's trying to change some of the old ways and trying to create opportunities for people to see that there can be a different way. A lot of stuff that we do, we've learned from US Club and we've learned through ECNL. They've set great examples over the past 10, 15, 20 years. So a lot of stuff we're using from those groups. Why fix something that's not broken? But obviously, each state is different here. Each state runs differently. And so we're trying to apply in Florida a little more structure linked with opportunity. And I think once you do that and people start to see it, the education process begins. And I think that's why we've had a positive feedback from a lot of the clubs saying, we see ourselves here and we see a future in this. And we see opportunities, not just for our current college seniors and juniors, but for the 3, 4, 5-year-olds that are coming into our club today. There's a good pathway for hopefully the next 10, 15 years. So I think that's the key, and it's an ongoing process. When you do anything like this, you've got to be incredibly thorough. Lori puts an enormous amount of time in, along with the other board members and her staff that work with her, but it's going in a very good direction. It's creating a lot of buzz, and we have a lot of the main clubs, the top clubs within the state, already jumped on board because they see the pluses of being involved. They see the impact this can make for their kids. So with that momentum, this is going to continue to grow.
no doubt, Lori, if you're going to create efficiencies, you have to understand the challenges that are ahead of you. So let's talk about the challenges of building leagues to meet the needs of players, teams, and clubs. Maybe they're different for the players than they are for the teams, but can you talk about the challenges for players, teams, and clubs?
Sure. So throughout the state of Florida, it's pretty big. We have all the markets are a little bit different. They all have their different challenges. So, for instance, my Miami market, they don't want to leave Miami because they have definitely the bulk of people down there, and they feel they have some very good competition down there. So why drive out for any other competition? So we have to be cognizant of all the different markets and the challenges that they have and what works for them in terms of just being so far apart. It's so spread. So we're excited that we're going to bring in the Panhandle because we haven't had the Panhandle clubs in there, but we'll be bringing them in to join our NPL starting next year. And that brought with itself new challenges. So we'll have to go regional based now with our schedules to allow for them to be in. But just you're constantly thinking about what is best for their markets because everybody's market is different in Florida.
So you are there in Florida, but as we mentioned already, you're also on the board with the ECNL, so you see these challenges being addressed. I've been told that the ECNL is very adept at pivoting and listening to clubs. Can you testify to that?
Absolutely. We have great leadership with Christian, Doug, Jay, and the boards, the men's and the boys and the girls boards. But the ECNL is about the clubs, and so the club leadership in every club has a say, has an opinion. And so when big decisions are coming up, the league will come out to each conference through its board members and have discussions. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? We have one later today that we'll be having with each conference to talk about the upcoming year, State of the Union, and then planning. And everybody has a say, and these are professionals. You know, the people we're talking to, men, women who have spent their life within the game, playing, coaching, and obviously they coach at a high level. Obviously they run very good clubs or they wouldn't be in this elite club league. So, you know, I think the importance is you have everybody involved and it's inclusive. And when you have that, you have buy-in. But again, you still need strong leadership at the top. We have that. And that's what we're creating within the Florida Club League, a very similar model. We want people to feel involved. We want to know what people think, you know, because sometimes you miss things. And when you have more eyes on the situation, you'll make sure you're thorough and you get everything right. So I think the league with ECNL is, for me, the best youth soccer league in the world, not just the country, the world. And it comes from the leadership at the top. I think what they've built and how they've built this is phenomenal. I feel very privileged my club's in it, and it's the only league I would want to be in.
Sean Bubb, such a great leader for the Florida Club League and such a great leader helping the ECNL. When we return, the spotlight continues to shine on the Florida Club League. This is Breaking the Line, the ECNL Podcast.
Nike is a proud sponsor of ECNL Girls. Nothing can stop what we can do together to bring positive change to our communities. You can't stop sport because #you can't stop our voices. Follow Nike on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
The ECNL is pleased to announce Quick Goal as the official goal provider and partner for ECNL Girls and ECNL Boys, a new partnership created to support the growth and development of the country's top players, clubs, and coaches. At all national events, including national playoffs and national finals, the Quick Goal Coaches Corner will provide hospitality and social space for ECNL Girls, ECNL Boys, and collegiate coaches. Quick Goal will also be the presenting sponsor of the National Championship winning ECNL Girls and ECNL Boys Coaches of the Year and the ECNL Girls and ECNL Boys Goals of the Year. Quick Goal looks forward to helping the ECNL continue to elevate the standards of youth soccer and provide more opportunities to players on and off the field in the coming years.
From athletes just starting to turn heads to some of the best athletes to ever play their games, Gatorade shows that they are the proven fuel of the best. For the athletes who give everything, nothing beats Gatorade, the studied, tested, and proven fuel of the ECNL.
Welcome back to Breaking the Line, the ECNL Podcast. As we put the spotlight today on the Florida Club League, we're joined by Sean Bubb and Lori Trautmann from the Florida Club League. Again, you can find more about them at floridaclubleague.com. When we went to break, Sean Bubb had high praise for the ECNL. Of course, we all know there is some alphabet soup in youth soccer, so I asked Sean Bubb how he deals with some of that alphabet soup.
The thing I'm always very impressed with, ECNL always takes the higher ground. And always, the question in every meeting I've ever been in, any conference I've ever been in, is what is in the best interest of the kids? What is in the best interest of the game? And I've never seen or heard anybody, whether it be staff or leadership group, executive group, say anything different. So I think that's why ECNL is the best league in the country, maybe probably the world, because of that. And like Lori said, the philosophy is very much the same down at FCL. Transparency, honesty, and integrity. Say what you do what you say. And, so I think that's why this league is very successful, because people see that and you create buy-in. And you've got a lot of high-level clubs here. Very, very good coaches, high-level leadership, high-level coaches from all around the country, from Seattle to Miami, San Diego to Boston, and everything in between. And all of the leadership is bought into what is happening because they see the pathway, but they know there's integrity, there's honesty, and it's done the right way.
You talked about your incredible path at a lot of great clubs, and I love your sentiment about ECNL perhaps being the best youth league in the world. Those are strong words, and I certainly appreciate it. I love the book that Malcolm Gladwell wrote called The Tipping Point. We've all had unique tipping points in their life. What was the tipping point for you to know that ECNL is, in fact, the best league in the world?
So I came in pretty early doors when ECNL started off, when I was at a club called Lone Star in Austin. And the concept was great. There'd been many concepts before. There'd been many leagues put together over the years. We're going to do a national league. We're going to bring this competition together. And they come and went, different levels of success. But once I heard Christian, Doug talking, and then I actually was in the league, and you saw how it operated, you saw how efficient it was off the field, and then you came to national events like this, you just saw that this is different. And obviously, you could tell pretty early doors, this is the league to be in, this is the place to be, because of the integrity, because of the professionals running it, their knowledge, their experience. They've done this, and they were all looking for something that could be better. And that's how ECNL was born, and it was born out of, I wouldn't say frustration, but what can we do better? And good people first, excellent leaders that wanted to do the right thing. And you could see it come through in the actions. It was very transparent. You could see this was going to be great, and you could feel the buy-in, the buzz from around the country. And again, I go back to my point earlier of the integrity and honesty. It's a huge, huge, huge pulling factor. And then you've got people who are very experienced and high level. I think, then you've got a recipe to create the best league in the world, and I think that's what they've done. And like I said, I'm very privileged to be part of this. Very privileged for my club to be in this. We're very honored, and, we're very proud of that.
And Lori, as a high-level executive, and for me, the best thing that you said is a soccer mom. I'm the proud parent of two kids that were very athletic, and my whole world evolved around them. Even while I was doing my full-time job, I made sure I was there for their games. What was your tipping point to know this is where you need to be, and really the fact that you got so stuck in creating this incredible Florida Club League?
I guess the ability to see that I could make a difference, and that I did have such a drive to make it better for the parents. Tipping point for me was probably after I was really done with the game and the kids had moved on, and that's when I'm like, okay, it's time to start giving back. I kind of missed being in it and getting involved.
Great to hear your tipping points. One of the things that I like about the pathway that Christian and Doug have covered, really everybody that has been on Podcast Row today here as part of the ECNL Coaching Symposium has talked about that pathway, particularly for girls, where there's over 4,000 girls playing college soccer. One of the things I like about you, Sean Bubb, is you had a son play for Virginia Tech, Mike Brizendine, who I've got time for all day. These clubs play such a big role in the dynamic of helping these young kids navigate that next step, right? Going to college or going to pro or maybe even future national team players. How important is that role to give these kids the right guidance?
They absolutely do. And I think, this league is, every club here produces high-level players. Every club within ECNL, male, female, is producing some of the best players in the country. Today's national teams are full of players that came through this league. All the colleges around the country have ECNL players full on their roster, and I think that's testament to the kids' work, the parents' dedication, but it really comes down to the coaching, the leadership, and the philosophy of the clubs. I think every club here, they're developing good people first, and the life lessons those kids get far outweigh any soccer skills they'll get, but that marries into the technical side of the game, the mentality side, what you need, the sacrifices you have to make to be an elite player and go on to college. And a lot of these kids will go on beyond college and play on national teams and in the pro game now. And the exciting thing and the buzz for me is the girls now have the same chance as the boys, which you couldn't say maybe 10, 20 years ago. So we have girls in our club today talking about playing professional. And that's the greatest feeling when you hear the kids say that, because in the past that wasn't the case. But I think the coaches, the leadership, the directors of each club play a massive role, and without them it wouldn't happen like it does. And I know I'm good friends with a lot of the college coaches. Obviously I mentioned Coach Brizendine, who does a great job at VTech. There's many out there, and they know the role the coaches and clubs play in this. And, hence there was 400 college coaches at the ECNL showcases, looking at the boys, looking at the girls. They're scouting the best talent in the country.
Indeed they are. We are not done putting the spotlight on the Florida Club League. We're going to take one more break and we'll be back to wrap up the show with Sean Bubb and Lori Trautmann from the Florida Club League. This is Breaking the Line, the ECNL Podcast.
Soccer.com is proud to partner with the ECNL to support the continued development of soccer in the U.S. at the highest levels. We've been delivering quality soccer equipment and apparel to players, fans, and coaches since 1984. Living and breathing the beautiful game ourselves, our goal at Soccer.com is to inspire you to play better, cheer louder, and have more fun. Visit Soccer.com today to check out our unmatched selection of gear, expert advice, and stories of greatness at every level of the game. ECNL Boys is partnering with Puma for the second year, driving sport forward with the leading products and the next generation of pros who wear them. Puma has proven themselves as the fastest sports brand in the world, the fastest innovation, the fastest players, and the fastest products in the game. They're the perfect partner to complement the speed and talent of our teams. In keeping with their mantra of forever faster, Puma introduces the world's fastest boot, the Ultra. The only boot engineered for speed, the Ultra combines a woven upper with a lightweight outsole for direct forward motion, speed, and acceleration. It's the best in the game, designed for the best players in the game.
Wrapping up our time here with Lori Trautmann and Sean Bubb with the Florida Club League. If there's another club out there listening, or in fact even at the state level listening, what words of advice would you give to them if they want to have a more efficient club that runs smoothly?
I guess being proactive, being very diligent with the time that you have.
For me, the leadership, you have to have professional people running the club. Still, there are clubs today run by volunteers, which is great. Without the volunteers, the game wouldn't have started, but we're at a point now in a stage where the clubs in ECNL is a perfect example. You need the professionals running the game. The kids will get the best experience, and you need the right leadership. And with the right leadership, the right coaching, comes the right infrastructure, comes the right model, and the right pathway. So I think that's very, very important. I know there are many great examples here this weekend at ECNL, and there are many great clubs within our FCL league that do it right and are constantly looking to get better. And I think one of the great things with those clubs that I mentioned is the question always is, same as the leagues, how can we make it better? Great leadership is never satisfied. It gets to a point, stage 2, stage 3, how do I get to 4 and 5? And I think the top clubs here have been top clubs for many years because of their leadership, their qualities, experience, and their elite level of coaching and management. And I think that's the key and that's the importance.
Just a couple more questions here with Lori Trautmann and Sean Bubb from the Florida Club League, and I do want to let you know that I'm going to ask you at the end what the ECNL truly means to you, but I also like to promote, one of you can do it, Lori or Sean, if people want to learn more about what's going on with the Florida Club League, where can they find you on social media, websites, all that good stuff?
So our website is floridaclubleague.com. We do answer our own phone calls, so they could certainly call us. Our number is listed right on the website as well. Twitter is Florida Club League. It's all the same.
Okay, awesome. All right, so Sean, we'll start with you. When you hear ECNL at its core, what does it mean to you, sir?
I said earlier, and I truly believe this, it is by far the best youth league in the world. I think what it's done for the female game on a youth level around the world is phenomenal. Promoting female sports, female empowerment, the stuff that the league does for these kids far above and beyond soccer is priceless. So for me, as I said earlier, I'm incredibly proud to be involved and a part of ECNL, and I'm incredibly proud because of the work everybody does and the opportunities it gives both the female and male players. I think that for me is what ECNL is about. It's on a different level.
We're incredibly proud of you, and I know the ECNL loves having people like you, Lori Trautmann, who established yourself at an executive level, now taking over, making a difference. Because of all that, what does the ECNL mean to you?
High quality brand standard. I love that. And I do love, again, what it does for the girls' game as well as the male game. They have done fantastic things for the women, and couldn't be prouder and happy to be a part of that brand with them.
So let me say on behalf of the ECNL, thanks for taking your experience from Disney and bringing it over to the Florida Club League, and thanks for being on Breaking the Line, the ECNL podcast.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, Sean, love your great words about the ECNL. Good luck in Florida. We'll be keeping track of you guys as leaders. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Thank you.
Are you kidding me? We appreciate your time, and we appreciate you inviting Christian Lavers down last week to be a part of the Florida Club League AGM. I want to thank all the great folks at the ECNL, including Andrea Wheeler and Jacob Bourne, my producer, Colin Thrash, for each and every one of them and all of you. I'm Dean Linke. We'll see you in 2 weeks for another edition of Breaking the Line, the ECNL podcast.
Thanks for listening to Breaking the Line, the ECNL podcast. For more information on the ECNL, visit us at www.theecnl.com. And if you have a suggestion for the show or a great idea for a guest, please email us at info@theecnl.com. Breaking the Line, the ECNL podcast is an ECNL production. ECNL, more than a league.